from your perspective, what's it like watching Chase Young when he's doing the things he did late in that fourth quarter there, game on the line and kind of walking a left tackle back into the quarterback. But what do you think of that?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I've seen him kind of just be who he is since I got here. And like he's always been, a dominant force. He's always played like he's the best player on the field. So it's really nothing new for me to see him, make plays like that. And I went up to him, I think late in the fourth quarter. I think we had a third and long, and I was like, hey, like this is where you come alive. Third and longs, must pass situations is where you get to do what you do. So, happy to see him make some of those plays. But, at the end of the day, that's what I expect from a guy of his caliber and a guy who's as talented. And, I hold him to a high standard because, I know he'd do the same for me.
And for this defense yesterday, Chase referenced that the game plan was not to use a lot of blitzes and to try to get after it with four on the front end.
Yeah.
How do you think that worked out? Why did y'all want to go that route? I know you're not Brandon, but
Yeah, no, I think it worked out well. And I think, you know, obviously this comes from me, so this may not be fully accurate, but I think a lot of that was just trust and believing in, the guys we have pass rushing and just us being confident in their ability to rush the passer one-on-one. Sorry, my dog is but yeah, I think they really just trusted that. And then obviously we've sent a lot of pressures and blitzes with the DBs and had a lot of success in that. So we kind of anticipated them being ready for that. And yeah, I think it was a good counter, and I think it worked out in our favor.
Jonas, what's the just talk about the feeling, the mood? I mean, it's Victory Monday. You put back-to-back wins together, and the way teams playing down the stretch.
Yeah, I think, our emphasis for us has been just constantly improving and finding ways to, finish games. And, we love our defense being in the situation to kind of put the game to bed. All it took for us was just doing our job consistently the whole game and giving our offense a chance, which we did, and they were able to capitalize, despite having a lot of injuries. And that kind of goes to speak on, the perseverance they had, just despite losing some key guys, guys like Audric stepped up, guys like Kevin, guys who, been practice squad a lot this whole year, but, they've been going against, our defense all year. So we know what they're capable of and kind of just trusting and believing in those guys.
Jonas, what do you make of the contributions of y'all's rookie class? I mean, between you, Tyler, Kelvin, Devin with a touchdown run, Quincy making a PBU in the end zone. What do you think of what y'all put together this year?
I think a lot of it has just been just getting better. Obviously, Kelvin and I were some of the first two to kind of be able to have an impact early. But, a lot of those other guys have been ready this whole time. And so now it's being able to see them go out there, make plays, I wouldn't expect anything less. I know how talented all those guys are. Quincy, Devin, I'm close with a lot of all those guys, Danny included. So, yeah, it's awesome to see them kind of get some of that burn that they've been hungry for. And, that hunger and drive that they all have is starting to really come alive, and they're starting to have really good impacts for the team.
When you're going through a season like this with some of the challenges you guys have faced, what's it like to have a guy like Demario who's 37 next month? He's on pace for a career high in tackles. He's gonna, surpass his career high that he set last year at age 35. Just for him to continue to be so bought in and playing as well as he is, what's that kind of meant for this defense as a whole?
Yeah, no, he's the rock of our defense, and I'm a big believer in, I think leaders who can speak and do that is really good, but guys who can back it up with how they play and how they act every day, just makes it that much more powerful. And I mean, first, Demario's probably one of the best speakers I've ever been around. Just his choice of words and just, the delivery of his message is, always on point. But just the way he approaches every day with his work ethic, and then with just his play style. Those are things that, especially as a rookie, that you kind of look at and are like, something you aspire to be, and kind of have that impact and role on your own team, eventually down the road. So, a lot of things I've learned from him, not just, football related, but just, being a man. And I think he's had a really positive impact, not just on me, but on everybody around him.